Well, joining us live is former advisor to Ukraine's Minister of Defence, Yuriy. It's good to see you this morning, Yuriy. So it seems as though you've got a choice here. Take a Russia-friendly peace deal or fight on. Is that about the extent of it?
Good morning, Pete. I don't think we have that choice. Me and you, we spoke about this so many times. For Ukraine, it's a war of survival. It's our existential threat. We understand that Russia's one and only objective in this war, despite of what they say or what anybody else says, Russia's objective is to destroy Ukrainian statehood. For as long as they are unable to achieve that goal, they will not stop. This is why it is, on the one hand, very hopeful and optimistic to see efforts by the United States of America and by the Ukrainian side, of course, to progress on the path to peace. But we have to ensure, all of us, that we don't turn a peace agreement into an appeasement agreement. Because if we appease the aggressor, this will not be in the interest of anybody, not European countries, not Ukraine, not the United States, not Australia, right? Well, because it's about the world order, it's rules.
Well, I mean, by what you're saying there, does that just suggest that Russia's getting rewarded?
Well, look, by now we understand, we know for a fact that as a result of yesterday's meeting in Geneva between Ukrainian and the US side, the original draft or framework that was put on the table in the form of 28 points has been considerably refined, revised, and the parties have worked point by point to ensure that the red lines that the Ukrainian nation has are not crossed. Yeah. So I don't think we're talking now about an agreement that would reward Russia, but I was just saying a warning that we should not, at any circumstance, under any circumstances, allow that to happen.
Yeah, and you're talking about giving up any territory there.
Well, I think for now, it is, agreed between, European countries and us, the US and Ukraine, that we will never recognize the legitimacy of the Russian aggression, and every centimeter of our land that they have illegally annexed, we will take back at some point. But we also have to be realistic at the same time, which means that we can, the baseline for this negotiating process could be the existing front line, right? Where the troops are at the moment. But of course, we will never give up the part of Ukraine which is now under Ukraine's control, which is what was allegedly envisaged in the original draft of the 28-point plan.
So just going through the White House statement this morning, Yuriy, if, as the White House says, positions are being aligned, what does that mean? How do you understand it? Are you having some success in pushing back on some of your points?
I think both our side, our representatives who went to Geneva, as well as Marco Rubio from the US, everybody left the negotiating room yesterday very optimistic. Marco Rubio said this was the most constructive meeting he has had with the Ukrainian side since the beginning of this process. So we'll have to see, of course, because the most difficult and most contentious issues will be determined and decided when Ukrainian President Zelensky meets Donald Trump in person. The date of that meeting has not been announced yet, but we hope that Donald Trump will stick to his guns. He will continue to believe in his own formula of peace through force. And when they meet with Zelensky, they will, agree on the terms of the peace agreement that they will force onto Russia.
Feels like these negotiations have got a long way left to run, Yuriy.
Well, exactly. It's a very complex and process. Sitting here in Ukraine with the blackouts, and on a daily basis, we continue to be the target of the attacks of the enemy. As we speak right now, the southern city, the southern, what we call capital of Ukraine, Odessa, is under attack from the Russian drones, a barrage of drones hitting civilian residential areas. Last night, as the parties were sitting in Geneva, Kharkiv was attacked, civilians were killed. So it's a grim reality. And of course, we want this peace process to move faster, but we understand that the only way this will happen is if the US exerts more pressure on Russia and forces Russia to sit down and talk meaningfully about the peace.
You just heard some commentary from Keir Starmer there. The rest of Europe has come up with its own points. Is Europe even a factor in these conversations, or is it just Ukraine, Russia, and the US at the table?
European countries are a huge factor because they continue to provide us with support. And in the heart of hearts, like for example, a few days ago when this 28-point plan was just announced and when the deadline was allegedly set for the Thanksgiving Day, which is coming Thursday. Now, we all kind of in Ukraine got a bit worried, but we know that even if we are abandoned by the US, the European countries will never abandon us because they are next. And they understand that they have to stand with Ukraine because if Ukraine, God forbid, lets Russian troops roll over our territory, Russians will not stop in Ukraine. They will go further west. This is why we are confident that, our European partners will stand with us. And there will come a point when they will sit at that same table. Their signature will have to be on that agreement.
True. Okay. Yuriy Sak, it's good to talk to you again this morning, Yuriy. Appreciate it.